rare and balanced view on politics in today's world. Based on facts, born of rationality, common sense, and logic, providing context on today's events. This is American Perspective with Rick Thomas.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to American Perspective. I am your host, Rick. A great welcome back to Buddy. He has been feeling under the weather lately, and so we prayed for him, and the prayers seem to have worked. He's back with us. Maybe not 100%, but that's okay. That's okay. Buddy, you make sure that you step away if you need to go rest and get better. Anyway, all right. We will keep praying for you, of course. All right, so let's go ahead and get things kicked off. I believe tonight is Ms. T of Texas. Yeah, I think it is. I'm fairly certain it is Ms. T of Texas on deck for the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you are of mind, please stand, remove your hats, if you're wearing one like me, and place your hand over your heart. And follow along with Ms. T of Texas as she recites the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All righty. And, of course, I thank you, Ms. T, for supplying us with that wonderful rendition of the pledge. If you would like to hear your pledge played here on the program, all you need to do is record yourself performing the pledge, reciting the pledge in your style, and then take that audio file, video file, whatever kind of file, and send it on to me. Send it via email. Send it to fans, F-A-N-S, at AmericanPerspective.online. That's fans, F-A-N-S, at AmericanPerspective.online. Now, I haven't done this in a while, so let me go and run through who I see in the chats. I'll start off with the usual miscreants over, the usual miscreants over on Facebook. I see Becky and I see Tommy over there. Over there on Facebook. Let's see. Is there anybody else that I see in the chats? No, I just see them. I don't see anybody on X, which isn't really surprising, or YouTube, but that's nothing unusual either. However, let's get the blast of a list over on Rumble. I'm telling you, folks, if you are not on rumble.com yet, you really need to get over to Rumble and get into the party. I've seen Amy, Bonnie, Nana, Buddy, which I already mentioned him, U.S. Abby Girl, Bam. I see Squishy's over here. Let's see. Is there anybody? Did I miss 3 Chevy? I think 3 Chevy said he was going to be gone tonight. So I'm kind of Ms. T of Texas jumping in both places. And let's see, I don't see anybody else. I'm fairly certain that G is also there as well. So anyway, yeah, if you haven't come on over to the rumble.com camp, you really should be, and hang out. And yes, G is there. G is hanging with Ms. T and G. Sounds like it should be like a sitcom or something. Anyway, all right. And yes, Buddy, I know you're not there, but I see them. And there's and I may not have mentioned my news, but my news is in there as well, popped in. So there you go. All right. So I think I got everybody. Welcome. Thank you for joining in with the program. And of course, all of you guests and folks that don't jump into the chat. That's cool too. I'm just glad that you're here. All right, tonight's headline sponsor is the Institute on the Constitution. The Institute on the Constitution was established in 2004 as a 501c3 nonprofit with one singular mission, and that is to restore the constitutional republic through grassroots education. All courses and materials are developed using primary source documents and taught from the American view of law and government as defined in the Declaration of Independence in the following 3 key points. 1, there is a God. 2, our rights come from him. And 3, the purpose of civil government is to secure and protect our God-given rights. The IOTC offers the opportunity to educate yourself on our most precious founding document, the Constitution of the United States. They also provide tools to educate your community and get involved with local government. Start by taking their free U.S. Constitution course and go from there. Use my affiliate link, iotc.americanperspective.online, to sign up, and while you are there, take a moment to look through their other course material and information. My affiliate link, once again, is iotc.americanperspective.online to get great content to learn about our historical founding and support the show in the process. That's iotc.americanperspective.online. Or if you just want to purchase this fabulous Saddleback leather-bound U.S. Constitution to support the show, and let me tell you, you need to grab this thing and hang on to it, put it in your pocket. It is pocket-sized. I know I'm putting it closer to the camera so it looks like it's bigger than my head, but there, now it's right up against my ear and my head so you can see the size. It's pocket size, and it is perfect for warding off those leftist morons that are running around. Let's go ahead and talk about this thing. First of all, you can go to constitution.americanperspective.online to get this, but let's talk about this little thing. It's got 1/8 of an inch of Saddleback leather wrapped around pages that are water and tear resistant. Inside, it is not glued. It is stitched all the way through the leather and the pages in. It's got a 100-year warranty against materials and workmanship defects, such that you can send it back to the manufacturer and they will either fix it or replace it for free if something does go wrong with it. It is Buddy tested, Buddy approved. Billy tasted, Billy approved. Billy kind of liked the taste. And my youngest whiskey warrior has confirmed that the information contained within it will help you study for your civics badge in Scouts. It'll probably help you get your civics test done. The amendments that are inside are in numerical order. They do use Roman numerals, and yes, my rumblers all say it has sexy, rounded corners. Buddy throws another line out. He says, makes a great family heirloom. You know, I gave these to all of my family members at Christmas a while ago. And, yeah. So, and it is also, according to Nana, over on Rumble, Democrat repellent. Kind of like crosses, garlic, silver, you know, with vampires, but yeah, the Constitution is definitely there. Go to constitution.americanperspective.online and get yours today, and you can support the show by doing so and get a fantastic article that keepsake heirloom that you can pass down to a lot of different, pass down through generations. I mean, it's got that 100-year warranty, so there you go. Go and check out the Institute on the Constitution. Check out all of their offerings today. And, of course, I appreciate them for allowing me to be a brand affiliate. All right. Well, first things first, the left, I noticed they haven't said anything about this in a while. And this is probably why. Because, you know, Trump was talking about all those tariffs and the trade deals, and everybody was, all the people on the left, they were all saying, oh, no, the trade deals are not coming. They're just not coming. These people are just they're just going to flip him the bird and not do any kinds of trade deals. Really? Well, Trump goes up to the G7, and what does he announce first? Oh, yeah, the U.S. and UK announce that they have a trade deal. Of course, steel imports are still unresolved, but then again, I mean, you have the whole U.S. Steel Nippon deal that just went through that President Trump approves of. So, yeah, so there you go. The U.S. and the U.K. announce a trade deal at the G7. And on top of that, you have Trump and the new Prime Minister of Canada in Carney, they agree to reach a deal within the next 30 days. And Trump said reaching a deal with Canada within weeks or days was achievable as long as both sides agree. Well, that obviously is a reason for that, but there you go. So anyway, yeah, those wonderful trade deals that everybody was saying, oh, they're never going to happen. Oh, yeah. It's just a matter of time. I'm telling you. And it was following this announcement about Canada and Trump, Canada and America trade deal was following a meeting on the first day of the G7 leaders summit. So the new commitment came during a discussion on new economic and security relationships between both countries, along with talks on trade pressures and each side's priorities, the Prime Minister's office said in a readout of the June 16th meeting. So earlier in the day, a bilateral meeting between the president and the prime minister, Trump said reaching a deal with Canada within days or weeks was achievable as long as both sides agreed. Yep. So there you go. And Canadian officials also expressed optimism for the possibility of a sooner deal with the United States following recent interactions with the Trump administration. Canada's ambassador to the United States, Kirsten Hillman, said on June 16th that trade talks with the United States have been moving faster in recent weeks. She said, we have had a lot of, especially recently, I think, proactive conversations where we are understanding each other better, or we feel they are understanding us better. That happened again today. So, yeah, tariffs. Those, oh my God, tariffs, it's going to kill us, it's going to kill the economy. Yeah, right. Sure, it's going to kill the economy. Speaking of the economy, speaking of the economy, here you go. Blue-collar wage growth under Trump sees the largest increase in nearly 60 years. Yep. 60 years. This is what Treasury Secretary Bessent, however it's pronounced, told Miranda Devine on her Pod Force One podcast that blue-collar workers haven't really seen a real wage growth of almost 2% in a very long time. Well, they got one in the first 5 months of Donald Trump's second term. It's the largest increase for any administration in nearly 60 years. The 1.7% pay bump is a stark contrast to the negative growth that happened under Biden, according to new data from the U.S. Department of the Treasury. Since Richard Nixon in 1969, Trump has been the only president to record positive growth for blue-collar workers in his first 5 months. Now, his first term, he also achieved 1.3% there. The recovery from a 1.7% decline that Biden recorded in his first 5 months because of inflation outpacing earnings suggests a shift in economic conditions for this financially stressed segment of the workforce. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent told Miranda Devine on the podcast that the only other time it's been this high was during President Trump's first term. Yeah. So let's be real about this. This isn't like, you went and you got paid an extra 1.7% in your paycheck. What has actually happened is the inflation has dropped and has given you essentially a 1.7% increase, meaning that your money now is worth more. It's worth 1.7% more than it was under any other administration within the first 5 months. That's pretty much what this is. I mean, that's basically it. Okay, it's risen close to 2% in the first 5 months. And falling inflation has driven that significant improvement. So there you go. And the wage growth is also fueled by the president's emphasis on manufacturing, according to Besant, however it's pronounced, and commitments to remove legal migrants from the workforce. I've got something on that. Oh, actually, you know what? That makes it a good segue. I can bring that up. So he talks about removing the illegal migrants. And this is one of the things that has been happening quite a bit here recently, is that, you have people like Karen Bass. And believe it or not, you actually have President Bush talking about this. And the left keeps talking about this. And they keep talking about the fact that, hey, you know what? If we go and we grab all of these illegal immigrants and we get rid of them, we take them out of our economy, we take them out of our country, and now all of a sudden we're going to have jobs that regular Americans are not going to want to do. Because things like, nanny jobs and things like housekeeping jobs, picking things in the fields, stuff like that, right? Well, here's an article in Red State that kind of disputes that narrative, that if we get rid of all the illegals, Americans are not going to want the jobs, and so we're going to end up destroying something. Well, here's the thing. There was a major ICE raid at an Omaha meatpacking plant. Now, here's what happened, all right? So ICE went and raided this facility. It was the Green Valley Foods facility in Omaha, Nebraska. And what ended up happening is many people predicted that this was going to cause the company to basically collapse. That the fact that even though the company used what's called E-Verify, which E-Verify is you put in people's, social security numbers and names and so on and so forth, and it's kind of like a database that's supposed to be checked. Okay, that's supposed to be checked for all of this. And what ended up happening was they've actually found that even though the company uses E-Verify, they still found at least 74 of the plant's 140 employees were determined to be illegals. Okay. And anyway, so now keep in mind, the company is complying just by using E-Verify and stuff like that. They are complying with the law. And according to that company's president, many of those workers had actually been employed for close to 15 years. And they worked in all places across the facility. I mean, not just what you would consider to be, your stereotypical illegal job. All right. But what ended up happening, and this is part of the left's argument. This is part of where the left sits and talks about all of this stuff and says, God, if we get rid of all the illegals, we're not going to, nobody is going to want to work these jobs. And this goes back to George W. Bush. And this was their justification for not necessarily being as grasping for a word here, but being as strict with the immigration laws in this country that they kind of, we're just going to kind of look the other way because this is helping us sort of thing. And this goes all the way back to Bush. And back on June 2nd, 2007, he has this to say about this whole thing in a press conference. Take a listen.
Thank you all. Please be seated. The system is broken because There are people who are exploiting human beings for material gain. There are coyotes, those are human smugglers, charging decent people large sums of money to come and work to put food on the table for their families. There's a document forgery industry in place because the system is broken. And the two go hand in hand. I believe that now's the time that you cannot fully enforce the border so long as people are trying to sneak in this country to do jobs Americans aren't doing.
Okay, did you catch that? Did you catch that? He said that you can't enforce the border for as long as people are coming across to do the jobs that Americans are not willing to do. Yeah. Now, that was him. Now, if you listen to Karen Bass, we'll take a quick listen to her. She basically says that, hey, her entire city runs and requires illegals to run.
Officials say more than 20,000 demonstrators took to the streets in LA yesterday as part of the nationwide No Kings protests, which were largely peaceful. There was a pocket of unrest outside the federal building. How violent did things get in reality last night in your town?
Well, yes, and I appreciate you pointing that out because this is a small sliver of our town. There were a lot of people out, about 30,000. I will tell you that out of that big crowd, 5 people were arrested. About 30 were given citations, and there were injuries on both sides. Officers were injured, and so were people that were there. But, you know, I think that, one, if the raids hadn't happened, then that protest would have been a No Kings protest. We know that that was planned months in advance. But the disruption and the fear that has been caused by the raids has really had a devastating effect and has been a body blow to our economy. I don't think the president understands that we have entire sectors of our economy that cannot function without immigrant labor.
Now, she's avoiding using the term illegal. She's talking about immigrants, which if she was actually discussing illegal immigrants, we would be okay. But no. Well, here's the thing. This factory, actually, this raid on the factory, I should say, provided a small microcosm for us to evaluate whether or not these leftists are correct, whether or not the globalist George H.W. Bush is correct, or is he W? I can't remember. Anyway, the younger Bush was correct, that we are bringing in illegals, and it's an important part of our ecosystem and our economy because of the fact that they are doing jobs that Americans are just not interested in doing. And so without them, our whole economy is going to collapse. Well, this microcosm and the grabbing of about 50% of the workforce at this Green Valley Foods, that means that the entire facility would basically fall apart after this raid, right? Wrong. So right after the legals were taken, here's what the result was. Every seat in the waiting room of Glen Valley Foods, I think it's supposed to be Green Valley or Glen Valley, I don't know which one. Anyway, Glen Valley Foods was occupied with people filling out job applications on Thursday afternoon. So remember, the raid happened on a Tuesday. Within a day and a half, they had people filling out job applications. Dozens of prospective employees, many of them who were Spanish speakers, had been coming in and out of the plant all day. Some were hoping to land a new job. Others were coming in for training. So, yeah. Now, the thing about it is again, the whole point here is that maybe if we clear out the illegals, we'll actually get Americans to fill those positions. Whether if it's a, low paying entry level job, you'll maybe have, high school or college kids that are taking things up like this. Or you may end up getting people just taking it as a secondary job or something along those lines. Regardless, the fact of the matter is that, if you take the illegals out and the Americans are able to actually compete for those jobs, then maybe, just maybe, we won't have a problem with all of this. And that's essentially what's happening, is that if we can take out the illegal immigrants and have Americans take those jobs, that other little thing that the left keeps barking about and keeps saying over and over and talking about, oh my gosh, we got to raise the minimum wage. Maybe, just maybe, if you increase competition for those jobs, you'll find out what Henry Ford did in order to get high quality workers, which is essentially the business says, hey, you know what? It's going to be better for us if we pay them more. So there you go. This is just one of these things that I'm telling you, I don't think it's going the way that the left is going to want it to go. And I think they're going to find out that the only reason, I think the Americans who are going to find out that the only reason that the left wants to support these illegal aliens being here is because they want them to vote. And they want them to stay on the government dole, because that justifies everything that these people have been pushing for. Hopefully we'll find out soon enough. But anyway. All right. Let's go ahead and let me hit this really quick. Take a short break. All right. This. Let me start that over again. This sponsorship is from Rumble, and one that is incredibly important to the survival of the company. When Rumble first started in 2013, they built the platform for the small creator, like myself. They didn't censor or have biases. They were fair and treated all creators equally. No one thought the platforms would censor political conversation or censor opinions on COVID, but they went ahead and did so anyway. Facebook itself admitted that they fell to the pressure of the Biden-Harris administration. Rumble did not. They held the line. They are attacked daily for giving us a voice to talk to you. They are attacked in corporate media, by governments like France, and they are attacked from brand advertisers who refuse to work with Rumble. Corporate America is fighting to remove free speech. Rumble is fighting to keep it. Rumble won't survive with brand advertisers. They don't get that much of those. They don't get much of brand advertisement. So watching our show on Rumble is the most that they can ask from you. But if you really believe in this fight, and if you have the means, one major way you can help Rumble survive is by joining Rumble Premium. Join the community that believes in the First Amendment and believes in our human right to free speech. Rumble is offering $10 off with the promo code STUDIO, STUDIO, when you purchase an annual subscription. Go to rumble.com / that's the question mark key, / premium, and use promo code STUDIO to get that $10 off when you purchase an annual subscription. Go to rumble.com / premium and use promo code STUDIO to get $10 off when you purchase an annual subscription. Like I said, if you have the means and believe in the cause, now is the time to join Rumble Premium. If you don't have the means, that's okay. We're just happy that you watch us on Rumble. I'm serious. Head on over to rumble.com. Get yourself an account. The account itself is free, but if you want Rumble Premium, where you can skip the ads and that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's, get that $10 off for signing up for an annual subscription. All right. Well, Israel has done a fantastic job with handling Iran. And by that, in particularly, they've been handling Iran's missiles. So reports are coming in that Israel has wiped out a third of Iran's missiles, drastically reducing the strikes coming from Tehran overnight. So this was published, this was in the New York Post yesterday evening. So Israel has wiped out about a third of the Iran's total ballistic missile launchers since Thursday, drastically reducing the risk that Iran poses not only to Israel, but also the rest of the world. Israel has eliminated 120 Iranian missile launchers since Israel's Operation Rising Lion began, leaving the Iranian regime with less and less leverage over Israel and its partners as it clings to roughly 2/3 of the arsenal it had just 4 days ago. And that was based off of IDF spokesman Brigadier General Efi Defrin, where he was talking on Monday. The accomplishment has already had an effect. Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps launched fewer than 50 missiles at Israel last night, roughly half as many of the Iranian regime's prior barrages. So there you go. The Israeli Air Force struck over 100 military targets in Iran overnight, and that was, 16th to the 17th. The strikes focused on central Iran, where the main area where the missile launchers and ballistic missiles remain. Among those targets were more than 20 missiles being prepared for imminent launches at Israel, so they got to them before they launched, which is kind of cool. And the official basically also said, based on precise intelligence, launch teams that were either operating from command centers or en route to carry out launches against Israel were eliminated during the strikes. So, yeah. Now, here's the thing. In order to pull something like that off, you literally have to have air superiority. And that is exactly what Israel has over Iran right now. Now, Trump left the G7, and initially it was in conversations, there were rumors running about, that he left the G7 because he wanted to negotiate a ceasefire for Israel and Iran. But Trump himself basically said, yeah, that's not it. That's not it. And so pretty much what's going on right now is the fact that Israel is beating the crap out of Iran. They have air superiority. Trump actually announced that here today. He said, "Hey, we own the skies." Well, and they also have sent the supreme leader into hiding. Well, Trump announced today also and said, "Hey, Supreme Leader, you need to stop this. You need to quit. You need to surrender." And by that, he means unconditional surrender. And he also followed along with, "Yeah, we know exactly where you are, Supreme Leader." I seem to recall a conversation where Trump went into and made a trip, an actual trip, to Afghanistan, and was sitting there with the leader of the Taliban. And this was during Trump 1. And he walked in with a picture. He handed the picture over to the Taliban leader and said, "Hey, do you recognize this building?" Taliban leader, of course, said yes. And Trump says, "Yeah, well, if another hair gets harmed on an American soldier's head over here, and you're the cause of it, that building and everything in it is going to go away. What that building was the man's house, where the man was living. See, what a lot of people don't seem to understand is that when you're dealing with people like this, just like what Reagan did with Gaddafi, just like with anybody who has dealt with these people in that region of the world and any kind of dictators, if you call them out, and you can't just bluff, you don't bluff these people. You call them out and you actually do what you say you're going to do. For an example, give them 60 days to come up with some sort of a peace solution. And then on day 61, you unleash the dogs of war, per se, and go and, take care of the business. Let the Israelis take care of the business. I mean, they know what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing. And now Trump is saying, hey, guess what? You guys need to, come to the table and just surrender. And he's not messing around. Like I told you the other day, he's basically telling you, yeah, unconditional surrender, dismantlement of your nuclear program. You're not going to carry it at all. And Trump said in this chilling warning to the Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, he said, the United States knows your exact location, but we're not going to take you out just yet. He said this in a series of Truth Social posts and has been updating the situation in Iran, noting that the country's military airspace has now been completely shut down. Thanks, Israel. He said, we now have complete and total control over the skies over Iran. Iran had good sky trackers and other defensive equipment and plenty of it, but it doesn't compare to the American-made, conceived, and manufactured stuff. And nobody does it better than the good old USA. And just 30 minutes later, the president followed up with an update, said, we know exactly where the so-called supreme leader is hiding. He's an easy target, but is safe there. We are not going to take him out, kill him, for now. At least not for now. And he goes, we don't want missiles shot at civilians or American soldiers. Our patience is wearing thin. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Yeah. So then Trump also put it out there in a all caps 2-word ultimatum: unconditional surrender. So, yeah. Well, Iran kind of made a comment, or they posted something, I guess, on the socials, and they said, hey, if we're going to have any kind of come to the table, Israel's got to stop bombing us. Well, you notice Trump didn't say anything about Israel stopping them or stopping the bombing. So, yeah. There's no out. There is no out. Absolutely none. And, there's only one way for them to stop this. Just like with Hamas, there was only one way for Hamas to stop the war in Gaza, or the military actions in Gaza. There's only one way for it to stop. Quit being stupid dumbasses and freaking surrender. Holistic, unconditional surrender. Iran, give up your nuclear program. Period. That's it. Just get rid of it. Now, keep in mind, okay, the U.S. is not really interested in regime change. Even though Israel keeps talking about regime change, the U.S. is sort of like, yeah, we're not really too interested in that. It's like, it's kind of like the devil. We'd rather have the devil we know than the devil we don't. But there is no doubt in anybody's mind right now that Trump is basically saying, yeah, You guys need to quit your nuclear program. End of story. That's full stop. That's it. You're not going to have a nuclear program anymore. You need to quit it. So we'll have to see what happens, but yeah, the time for negotiation is basically done. And Trump is essentially saying, yeah, you need to just give up your nuclear program for sure. Well, one thing that is possibly happening again, this happened in the past, is that Elon Musk and his Starlink is causing some problems over in Iran. Now, here's one of the things that totalitarian leaderships do, is that they will go and they will put on blackouts. They will block the internet. They will black out the internet. I mean, China does this all the time. You know, the access, and this is my own personal experience of this, the access to any kind of sites in China is very restricted. All of the public hotspots that are in China have to go through special servers so that they can filter out any kind of searching or anything like that, from the public. The public can't know what the regime does not want you to know. I mean, it is literally along the lines of 1984 in that particular sense. But all of that, of course, is changing when you have things like Starlink available. Because what ends up happening is Starlink doesn't go through any of those servers. It doesn't filter anything out. And so Elon Musk has turned on Starlink for the Iranians again. Now, according to the Jerusalem Post, Musk's decision to activate Starlink in Iran comes after the Islamic Republic's communications ministry announced temporary limits and disruptions to internet service nationwide. A statement from the ministry read, "In view of the special conditions of the country, temporary restrictions have been imposed on the country's internet." So Elon Musk turned on Starlink in Iran in 2022. And by doing so, that was actually a game changer, according to Elizabeth McDonald. She said that means that even during government-imposed shutdowns or censorship, users can still get online, and reportedly more than 100,000 inside Iran are doing that. Said during the 2022's Women, Life, and Freedom protests, Starlink let Iranians communicate, share footage, and connect with the world when the Iranian networks were shut amid blackouts. She continued and said also Starlink is testing direct-to-cell capabilities, which would let Iranians' smartphones connect without a dish. And that by itself could dramatically expand reach and avoid visibility issues. Starlink supports free expression, protest coordination, and access to global information. So, yeah. So Musk's Starlink decided to turn on their capability over in Iran to allow the Iranian people, because keep in mind, Israel has been telling the Iranian people, we are not going after you. We're not interested in going after you. What we are interested in is taking out your leaders, the regime that has been suppressing and oppressing you for decades, for generations. We want to stop these people from supporting and funding terrorist operations against us. That's what we're after. And so that essentially is one of the things that Elon is helping them to do, is for the Iranian people to actually hear these words from the Israelis. The Israelis put out a statement basically saying that's paraphrased, that exact thing. And they are attempting to get that word into Iran so that Iran doesn't have the wherewithal to block everything. They're not going to be able to. And that's the technological world that we live in right now, which is absolutely fantastic for all of this. All right. Well, sorry, had to wet my whistle. I'm talking quite a bit. All right. So, if you are in a red state, or if you are represented by a Republican, there might be a reason why you feel like your Republican representative is not aligned with your values. So there's this site called the Institute for Legislative Analysis. Okay. And they put together a study that essentially demonstrates the differential between the representative of a particular area, and they evaluated them versus the ideology of the districts that they represent. That's what I was looking for. And what they have found is that there are a lot, and I mean a lot, of red state Republican folks, representatives, that are actually to the left of their voting districts. There is a total of 22 of the current Senate Republicans that have received an F grade, whereas only about 7 of them actually notched what's called an A+. So here's the study, and here is an example. I'm just going to pull this up here and show this to you. So this is from the Institute for Legislative Analysis. They have what they call a limited government rating. And what this limited government rating basically means is how often do these individuals actually side with the idea and the principles of limited government and the Constitution. Now, you'll see the rating on right over here in this column. You'll see it in red on the very end of each row. And that's their rating system. And then next to that, they have what's called the Cook PVI rating. Now, the Cook PVI rating basically analyzes how these people have gone and voted in the course of the year that you filter on. This one that we're looking at here is 2024. That's the last one that they have. But basically what they do is they evaluate it and they give it a Cook PVI rating. Depending upon how often, in terms of percentage-wise, that person has voted for things like limited government and essentially conservative values, the closer that they get, or the farther that they get to to a rating that is going to give you some sort of a positive rating. So in this particular case, for an example, you'll see the number 1 ranked person is Senator Mike Lee of Utah for 2024. He is a solid Republican, they say, in the Cook PVI rating, and his limited government rating is 100%, meaning that his voting record for 2024 demonstrates that he is 100% for limited government. Under him is Representative Andy Biggs of Arizona, and he has a Cook PVI rating of R+10 and has a limited government rating of about 99%. So he fudged on a couple of his. Chip Roy of Texas gets the third slot, where he has a R plus 11 Cook PVI rating and 98.75%. That is all a part of his limited government ratings. Now, they also have a couple of other categories as well. So that's just for limited government. And by the way, you can search based off of whether it's a state legislature, which I'm showing you kind of here. There's, the Arizona legislature, congressional legislature, that kind of stuff. You can filter that. You can filter members by state. In this particular case, for an example, if I were to filter by my home state of Washington, it filters out all of the other members, and it shows you where your ranking, your representatives rank. And as you can see, I live in a leftist state, so everything is blue or purple. Very few reds, although Kathy McMorris Rogers is District 5. She has an R plus 5 rating and a limited government rating of 77.81. She's the best in my state. And you can go through and search all of these, but you also have other, what they call district-based grades. And this is really interesting. So here is, again, this is the district-based grade, and this compares to where the person's district, in terms of what they have been able to glean off of the voters within that district as to where they sit within this entire situation in comparison to how the representative votes. And then they give a grade based on that. And as you can see, Mike Lee being at the top, solid Republican. Cook BVI rating, his limited government rating is 100%. His district estimate is 86% of the district is going to be to the conservatives, okay? And his district alignment is a plus 14 rating. The positive numbers means more conservative. The negative numbers mean less conservative, basically. And his district-based grade is that his voting goes along with his district alignment, and so he gets an A+. And you can go through and kind of dig through all of these things throughout this entire deal. You can check your states, you can check the different chambers, you can check on parties, you can check on the years. You can change from, they've only done this from 2022 to 2023, and they have 2024, which is what I'm showing you right here. And so, yeah. So for an example, if I were to look at, let's just see, somebody was saying, let's see, red state here in Ohio, that was Nana. So let's take a look at Ohio. I'm just going to pick on her. So according to this, Senator J.D. Vance, of course, is the number one out of Ohio from both chambers, that his limited government rating is 90%, 90.74. He almost made 91. He got an A+ grade because his district alignment is plus 11. His district estimate was 80%, and he went along with that 80% quite often. And so he ended up getting an A+ grade when it came to limited government. So, yeah, this might be a site that you may want to check out. It's called limitedgov.org, and then you can go from there. So limitedgov, G-O-V, all one word, .org is where you can go with this. And anyone in particular that Nana might be interested in, I'm not quite sure, but anyone in particular, we could probably take a look. But for an example, South Carolina has Lindsey Graham. Let's see where Lindsey Graham hits. South Carolina, and it might help if I could actually spell South Carolina here. Let's look at Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham gets an F. He has an F. He's right down here at the bottom. Let me zoom in here. There he is. He's at 8 at the bottom here. And his limited government rating is only about a 55%. His district estimate would be an 84%, so he is way out of whack for his situation. And he actually has a district alignment of -29, so he definitely doesn't vote like his district at all, and he received a district base rating because of that -29 as an F. So Clyburn, of course, who is a Democrat, yeah, he actually is, he's really bad. His limited government rating is 6%. District estimate is 7%, and he gets a -1, and he's an F also because he is a Democrat. But there you go. I mean, that kind of gives you an idea of what this thing does. But this, you can also check out their full methodology in terms of what they use, and it explains all of this stuff, kind of what I just explained. Well, let's take a look at Florida. I have a request from Bonnie for Florida, and if I could learn how to spell. Let's see, Florida, and you're looking for Corey Mills. Corey Mills actually hits at ranking number 5 in the list of all Florida. He is an R+5. He has a limited government rating of 90.91, so almost 91%. His district estimate is the limited government rating would be about 77%, so he gains a +14, and he has an A+ rating in terms of all that. Here, I'll just go and show you the other half of the chart here. There you go. And so there he is. Now, he's not perfect in terms of the limited government rating, but he's at least better than most. Kat Kamek is right below him at 6. She has an R+10. She has a 88.17% limited government rating versus her district estimate of being 83. And 83 would be +5. So she votes better than what her district says, and she has an A+. Representative Byron Donalds right here, he is up at number 2. He has an R+14. He's got a 92.8 limited government rating. His district estimate, meaning that what his district would vote, is about 87%. So he has a +6 in his district alignment. And so he's doing better, and he's got an A+ rating. And then Greg Stubbe is up there at R+11. He is at the top of the list. His limited government rating is 96.19 for 2024. His district estimate is 84%, so he's got a +12 in terms of his district alignment. So, yeah. And it looks like, as far as like all of Florida, you look at all the grade counts in Florida over here, you can see you have 7 people out of all of your both chambers and all parties. 7 make an A+ rating, 3 make an A. You have 2 that are B+, 1 that's a B. C+, you got 3. A C, you've got 1. And then, of course, D, you've got 2. And F is 9. So there you go. But according to this, at least for 2024. We can check Byron for 2023. And let's see. Oh, it looks like he stayed in the same place for 2023. He's in ranking number 2. And then the same thing, here's 2022. Byron Donalds was in the number 3 slot for that one. So he is definitely in the top 5 based on this for the last 3 years. So there you go. Byron Donalds. Yeah, he's a good one in my book as well. So, but there you go. If you're interested in anything more, suggest that you go to limitedgov, all one word, .org, limitedgov.org, and you'll be able to figure it out. All right, folks, that is it for me for this evening. Do me a favor. Do me a favor, if you can, head on over to rumble.com, get yourself an account. It's free. And once you are signed up and signed in, make sure you search up the American Perspective channel to get and hit that green follow button to get notified every time I go live. Also, too, before you take off, don't forget to hit those thumbs up or thumbs down, either way. Let me know what you think. across all of my platforms, whether it's X, YouTube, Facebook, or, of course, the aforementioned Rumble. We will see you tomorrow night, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on American Perspective. Have a great rest of your evening, and good night, everybody.